This has turned into a very heated row. How serious is this?
It is important, and to the extent that it has, for the first time since the start of the crisis in Syria, it has placed Turkey and Russia against each other directly, even though both countries have been at odds with each other on the issue.
At odds over Syria, but also two countries which have a very strong trading relationship. Will this jeopardise that, do you think?
Well, it won't, and I think both Russia and Turkey are quite pragmatic when it comes to their business interests. Both countries have been targeting $100 billion worth of trade volume between the two countries in the next decade. So I don't think there will be a major loss in terms of tangible relationships. But diplomatically speaking, there have been statements coming from various Russian foreign ministry sources that Kremlin is not happy with the fact that actually a civilian jet has been grounded. And there are rumors that, that the Turkish officials who intercepted the jet mistreated some of their citizens.
What about the legality of actually bringing down a passenger plane using a country's military jets?
Turkish government clearly stated that it is within international law that a country has legal rights to stop any vehicle that actually goes through the airspace or borders to stop for search. Though it is legal, it is quite a dramatic step to take. Turkey had warned Syria that it will not allow any arms to go through its borders a few months back. In fact, it had stopped a lot of trucks and naval vessels. This was the first time actually a jet has been forced to land.
And what is intriguing, they're saying they're acting on a tip-off, an intelligence tip-off. It would be interesting to know quite where that came from as well.
PM Erdogan was asked that question in a press meeting today, and he ambiguously, he did say actually they would not be able to say where it is from. The suspect, the usual suspect, is the US government at this stage, or it might be Syrian opposition groups. But of course, if Turkey cannot find a substantial an arm, ammunition, or a military part in that cargo, then the relationship between the country that gave the intelligence to Turkey would be tense too.
Turkey, of course, has a huge ally in the United States. If anything were to conflagrate here, the United States would be on Turkey's side. But is the mood changing in Turkey now regarding some sort of armed involvement, do you think, inside Syria?
Turkish public has never supported a military intervention to Syria. In fact, there's growing domestic pressure on the government to scale back even its political involvement with Syrian opposition groups. Both NATO and US clearly stated that they are with Turkey and defending Turkey's territorial integrity, but none of them would actually want to see a military escalation, including Turkey too.
And yet that border between Turkey and Syria is so porous. We know what Turkey's position is regarding any weapons going to Damascus. How stringent are they in terms of trying to control weapons going to the Syrian rebels? Turkey
has been politically supporting Syrian opposition groups, although it did not provide any weapons directly. We do know that various individuals in various countries in the region have been providing weapons. And yes, one could perhaps say that Turkey has allowed or turned a blind eye to weapons entering into Syria through Turkey for the rebel groups. However, Turkish fears over the fate of these weapons and whether this might be picked up by Kurdish militant groups, which might use these weapons back on Turkey, would mean that actually Turkey does not want to see more weapons flooding Syria. It will come back to haunt itself.
All right, OK. Ziya Meral, thank you very much indeed for coming in.